Yo boys, it's Stove here. Welcome back to another Wild Rift video. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at all the junglers that are confirmed in Wild Rift. There may be some more coming, but for now this is all we have. And yeah, just so you guys know, jungle is super important in this game. You guys are the ones that take all of the objectives, you gank lane, and in Wild Rift, objectives mean a lot more than they do in Arena of Valor and Mobile Legends and other mobile MOBAs. They actually mean something. Now, we don't know yet what the dragons do, like what their buffs are, and if there's like a dragon soul or anything. If it's like League, the dragons will actually have a pretty big impact on the match. So when you're jungling, you definitely want to take control of the dragon pit. Like in AoV, the dragons just literally give you some extra gold and XP. That's really all they do. The buff is basically nothing. It has like a slight burn or whatever it is. So dragon is like, it's not that bad if you lose it. But in Wild Rift, I'm thinking that it's actually going to be a pretty big deal because they're the elemental dragons, and they'll definitely give your team some sort of buff. If it's either health regen, extra damage, movement speed, something that's actually meaningful to the game. And we don't know yet if the Rift Herald is in Wild Rift. I'm pretty sure it hasn't been confirmed yet. The Rift Herald is basically in the Baron pit or the Dark Slayer pit if you're used to AoV, and it's like in the early game, if you kill it, it walks with you and it damages towers. So it's a really good tool for like taking towers in the early game, and then later in the game that pit turns into the Baron pit, also known as the Dark Slayer in Arena of Valor, where I'm not sure if it's actually confirmed in this game yet, but if it's in here, that's actually just another objective for junglers to take and fight over. It just adds some spice, to the gameplay. Like, another objective is always a pretty good thing to have in a game. And yeah, another thing that's really important with junglers is junglers have to know if an area is warded and clear wards. This is a huge like thing in League of Legends. In other mobile MOBAs, the jungler just runs to somewhere someone is, and if there's no wards, so you can just, no one knows you're coming. In most games there's like a jungle timer, like when they're going to clear the jungle, so you have to play safe. But here you'll have a ward, and the junglers have to like know if somewhere is warded. Your team has to communicate with you. You have to clear wards. That's like one of the jungler's jobs, is to clear wards and to get good vision and to gank. It's just, jungle is going to be a way more hard role in these games. It's kind of brain dead in Arena of Valor and Mobile Legends. You just get fed and you just take over the game basically. But in these games, he's kind of like, it's just, you have to think a lot when you're playing jungle. You have to think about the other jungler's path, what's warded, where you can gank, when objectives are coming up, what's your win condition, what objectives you need to take to win the game, like what's really good for a certain hero. Like Shyvana, she really needs to take those dragons because she gets an extra buff. It helps her out. So yeah, I'm really excited for jungle because there's a lot more depth in this game, and I feel like jungle is going to be a really important role, but also it's not going to be the most overpowered role, but it's just going to be really, like, I don't know, satisfying to play if you play it correctly. Also, I forgot to mention that after killing 4 minions in the jungle, you get the jungle item, the challenging smite or the chilling smite, so you don't have to go back after you clear your jungle like you usually do in League of Legends. You can actually go gank. So after those 4 minions, the jungler is going to be kind of powerful on the map. So it's kind of like a slight buff for jungle because of the wards. They're not as good because people will see when you're roaming to them. So it's a pretty balanced role. It's looking like it's going to be a fun role to play. Okay, so now let's get into some of the jungle heroes. The first hero on our list is Master Yi. I would compare Master Yi to basically like Butterfly from Arena of Valor. He's actually very noob friendly, like he's really good for new players, but he can also carry super hard in games. He's really good at like ranking up. Like if you're stuck in like a low rank, people recommend Master Yi to climb out because he's kind of brain dead, and low level players don't know how to like counter him because he's like Butterfly. You get 1 kill and you just keep going and going and going. And if this hero is fed in the early game, just surrender because the game's over. And yeah, he's super good for climbing lower ranks. So let's get into those abilities of Master Yi. The first ability, he goes untargetable and deals damage to units in the path. This attack can crit, so when no one can hit you, you can be critting them for a bunch of damage. And this also does more damage to monsters, and basic attacks reduce this. So you like teleport to someone and you just slash them a bunch, you crit them, and then after you come out, you want to keep basic attacking and you just spam it again. His second ability, he stands still and like chants this little, like, I don't know, this thing, and he restores health and he takes reduced damage. You're basically kind of like unkillable while you're healing. It's just really good for like tanking tower shots, or if you're about to die, you start healing them back really quickly. And when you're doing this, you gain a stack of his passive, and you also pause your ult time, because your ult, it only lasts for a certain amount of time. You pause it while you're doing this. So say you want to like, yeah, we'll talk about his ult and his passive later, so you'll get why this is pretty good to get a stack of the passive and pause ult time. And his third ability, you get bonus true damage on basic attacks. This works really well with this kit, because you just want to keep autoing and get that crit chance, because you're going to be building him kind of crit, kind of like Yasuo. He's like a melee ADC, describe him like that. His ultimate, he increases his attack speed, his movement speed, and cannot be slowed. So you're just super OP when you pop that ult. You can just chase people down, more attack speed, more movement speed, and champion kills or assists extend your ult. So basically, if you're not going to kill someone and you want to heal real quick, you can pause your ult so you have extra time to reset it. It works really well with that like restoring health ability, and you just want to keep killing people and spamming it over and over, spamming your abilities. Every time you get a kill, you just keep going, and your ultimate reduces cooldown of your other abilities on kills or assists. So it's basically like butterfly. You get that kill, you just spam your abilities over and over again, and you just snowball. Once you kill one person in a team fight, you can wipe their entire team. So yeah, this hero is kind of disgusting. I forgot to say his passive, but his passive isn't anything too crazy, and it works really well with this kit. Every few basic attacks, Master Yi strikes twice. That's his passive. Okay, and now we're on to our second hero, and that is Vi. Vi is a very good fighter with good mobility and lockdown. She shreds tanks and can make for some really good ganks because of her dash ability, and she has some pretty good CC too, so her gank potential is pretty good. She can clear pretty nicely, and overall she's just a solid fighter. Like, I wouldn't say she's the best hero, but if played correctly in a good team comp, she can be pretty powerful and actually pretty bursty if you get ahead. So let's get into those abilities. Her first ability is she charges up her gauntlet and releases a punch that carries her forward, and this punch will knock back enemies and give them a stack of armor reduction. So it's really, use this first ability to like go across the map. It's basically a pretty long dash that you can charge up that also does good damage. And her second ability, her autos break the opponent's armor, and this also deals bonus damage and attack speed. So the more you auto, the more damage you do to them, and you just destroy their armor. Very good at taking out tanks, like I said. And her third ability, blast through the target, damaging enemies behind it. This is pretty good for team fights and farming. It's just like, yeah, it's just an attack that blasts through people. So if people are, so say you CC 3 people with that dash, you just want to blast them with this third ability, because it just will do damage to all those people that you CC'd. And her ultimate, she locks onto an enemy and knocks them up and slams them into the ground. You can't do anything about this unless you have like Zanya's. Once she locks onto you, she just like zooms to you and knocks you up. So you always can get a kill like once you get ultimate with Vi if your team's around. So you just want to play around your team and ult someone when you guys can actually kill them. It's really good if you have an organized team and they actually are, yeah, know what you're doing. And you knock away anyone that's in your path. So if someone's like trying to stop you or walking in front of them, you just knock them away. And her passive, she just passively charges a shield, and whenever she lands an ability, she gains that shield. So she can actually get pretty tanky, and she's like a bruiser. She's not a straight up assassin. She like lasts in fights. She's the one that initiates. She initiates, gets in there, doesn't die right away, and can still provide something in those longer fights. All right, so now we're on to my favorite hero by far in this list, and that is Graves. Graves is basically Rourke with more mobility and range. He's very good in the 1v1, can kite enemies while also being pretty bursty. He's like a mix of everything, and when he's played correctly, he's a super deadly hero. Yeah, just the top players in League of Legends that play this guy are unstoppable. He's banned a lot in high ranks. It's just because his playstyle, just anyone that masters this hero can just pop off with it. The mobility, the range, the ability to kite players. He just, if you play smart with him like Rourke, you can just make good things happen. So let's get into the abilities of Graves. His first ability, he fires an explosive shell that detonates after 2 seconds, or if it hits terrain. This ability like is pretty good for poke. If people are close up to you and they're next to a wall or whatever, you can just blow it up right on them. Overall, great poke and damage ability. His second ability is the only kind of CC he has. The only downfall about this hero is he's not super CC heavy, just like Rourke. You know, you have to play him correctly and kind of kite those enemies and just play well to get kills. So the second ability, he fires a smoke canister that reduces the sight range of people hit, and also enemies hit are damaged and slowed. It's just a basic circle of smoke, and yeah, if you're hit with it, you're slowed, and if you're inside that smoke, you really can't see that far. His third ability is the dash that he has, and when you dash, it gives you armor, and if you dash to an enemy, it gives you resistance, so you won't get CC'd as much, and basic attacks lower the cooldown of the dash. So you jump into them, basic attack, and then you can like dash away. The more you auto, the more you fight, the more mobility you have, so that's really good for this hero. You want to be fighting a lot. And the ultimate is basically Vio's ultimate. So like I said, he's like Rourke with more range. You fire a huge shell that does a ton of damage to the first person, and then it does like a cone of damage with less damage that spreads out to people behind that. Yeah, say someone's actually behind the range of your ultimate, you can still fire it, and that cone will still kind of hit them if they're behind the max range of your ultimate. And his passive, the shotgun that he has holds 2 shells, and he has to reload. It's kind of weird having a hero in a MOBA that has to reload a gun. You know, it's not like seen a lot. And each shot sends 2 bullets in a cone. Hitting an enemy with multiple bullets does bonus damage, and this cannot pass through units. So the thing about this guy is he's not super OP because his shotgun shells don't pass through someone. And the thing is, you kind of have to get close, really close to someone. You want to dash into them and get super close to burst them down. He doesn't have that range, but some of his abilities give him some range. So like I said, overall, he's a very solid hero if played correctly. And yeah, that's Graves. All right, so the next hero we have is Olaf. I would describe him as like the king of the jungle, honestly. Olaf is like Kilgroth, but with more lifesteal and no CC. Like, you can't do CC to this guy when he pops his ultimate, and his whole kit relies around the lifesteal. So you definitely don't want to fight this guy 1v1 close up. He basically beats, I'm pretty sure he beats every single jungler on this list. If you guys fought at the same level, same goals, 1v1 close up, no one can beat him. And that's because of his passive and the abilities you'll see later in this. Yeah, he's just so solid. Like, he can actually chase people down, and that's what you want to do. If you land his one ability, you can still chase people down and get close to them. You just want to be close to everyone when you play this hero, and you can wipe their entire team. The only way to beat this guy is to kite him, and it's actually kind of hard to kite him. So he's picked in like pro play a lot, and he's just an overall solid jungle in basically every situation. Taking objectives, ganking, he's just good at it all. Fighting 1v1s, he's great. So his abilities, the first ability, he throws that axe into the ground, and if you hit someone with it, it deals damage and it slows them. And if he picks up that axe, the cooldown is reduced by a ton. So it's basically like no cooldown if you pick it up. And his second ability, this increases his attack speed, and he gains lifesteal and healing from all sources the lower he is. So the lower you get, the more lifesteal you get. So if someone's like, oh yeah, he's almost dead, I'm gonna run up to him. No, you're just gonna keep lifestealing more and more, and you'll get all that health back and just kill those guys. This is why his clear is also so good. You don't have to go to the base a lot, because you can just heal up in your jungle if you're low. You want to be low on this guy. So his third ability, he does a burst of true damage to the target and himself, and this, if he kills the target with the true damage, he restores the health that he did to himself. So you hurt yourself, but if you get that kill, it's for minions and people. So if you kill the minion, you get the health you lost back, and it does true damage. Doing a burst of true damage to seal up kills is super good. It just ignores any armor, and you can just burst people with that and finish kills with that. And his ultimate, he just immunes all abilities. Like, you can't get CC'd by anything. So if you're running like sprint or something, he's kind of decent in the side lane too, I would say. Yeah, you can just run people down and just murder them. There's nothing they can do about it. That's why this guy is just useful in every team comp. And his passive, this passive is kind of disgusting. His attack speed is increased by 1% for each 1% of health missing. So every 1% of health missing, you get an extra 1% attack speed. It's so disgusting. When you're low health, like 1 health, you're just autoing like crazy so fast, and you'll just lifesteal everything up. So yeah, Olaf is a very, very solid pick in Wild Rift. Alright, so now we have another one of my favorite heroes, and that is Gragas. This dude is the king of combos. He can one-shot almost anyone on the map if he builds full AP. He is super strong at team fighting, and his ganks are really good. He's not the best 1v1 hero, and his clear isn't amazing, but for supporting the team in team fights and securing objectives, Gragas is your pick, man. No one is really better than him at team fighting, and if you combo your abilities well, you can just wipe an entire team. And actually in pro play, he was played mid in earlier seasons of League of Legends because of how bursty he is if you build him full AP. And he's also played support too with Yasuo because of his CC and knockups being so good. So you can actually play him almost anywhere on the map because of how good his CC and just combos are. So let's get into those abilities. The first ability, he rolls his barrel to a location on the ground, and this can be reactivated, so you can just roll it and then slow someone right away, or you can leave it on the ground to combo with it. So you just roll it out and you can reactivate it, and it slows the person in the zone of the barrel. His second ability, he drinks from the barrel, and the next auto does a burst of magic damage, and when he drinks he gets reduced magic damage to him, so he gets kind of tanky to mages on the map. And the third ability, he charges to an enemy, knocking back and stunning them. This is where the combo comes into play. You throw the barrel on the ground, you leave it there, and say someone's walking near it, you can rush them, knock them back into that barrel that's on the ground, and then auto them after. It's just a super crazy combo. If you do those three abilities into one, you can still one-shot them without your ultimate. And his ultimate is he throws the barrel into the air, it hits the ground, and it just knocks everyone around. And it does a crazy amount of damage if you're building full AP. So just imagine the amount of combos you can have. So say someone's sitting under tower, you can just flicker over a wall, throw that barrel behind them and push them out of tower and just combo them with your other three abilities. And the passive is every ability he uses restores 6% of his max health, but you only can do this every few seconds. So it's not like every time you tap an ability, you get a bunch of health back. You can't spam it. So he's actually pretty tanky if you build him tank. He can either be played full tank if you want to be more supportive, but if you want to carry, definitely build him that full AP route. Now we're on to one of the more brain dead heroes, I would say, in Wild Rift. She is super crazy, and that's Shyvana. I would describe her as crushed in the jungle with a crazy amount of poke. This hero is also built full AP most of the time, and she can just decimate an entire team with her abilities. She relies on charging her ultimate and dealing massive damage when she actually ults in team fights, and she actually also gets a buff from killing certain dragons in Wild Rift. I'm not sure exactly what she gets from each dragon, they didn't tell us yet, but just know that this hero definitely wants to be taking those dragons. She is the one. If you're playing any jungler that wants to take dragon, it's Shyvana. Alright, so let's get into her abilities. Her first ability is basically an empowered auto, and basic attacks reduce the cooldown of this auto, and in dragon forms it cleaves, so every few autos you'll just get another empowered auto that you can use. Her second ability, fire swirls around her, dealing magic damage and giving her a little bit of movement speed. Autos increase the time of this ability, and it's just bigger in her dragon form. So make sure you guys auto when you're using her second ability. Her third ability is a fireball that damages targets hit. This also marks them, and basic attacks deal percentage of the health on the marked target. So make sure you guys auto those people after you mark them. It does a bunch of damage. And in dragon form, this fireball is disgusting. If you're building full AP, one fireball can one-shot an ADC, and that's not an exaggeration. It's actually crazy. And in dragon form, when you shoot that fireball, it burns them, it explodes, burns them, and it leaves a scorched earth on the ground, a little circle of fire on the ground. And if you walk through that can also one-shot you. So when she ults, make sure you run away. You don't want to get hit. Just try to dodge those fireballs, because it's crazy how much damage they do. And her ultimate, she just transforms into that dragon and takes flight. This can be used as CC too. If she jumps through enemies, that she brings them all with her to where she's going. It's really good CC ability. Say you ult on someone, you can just use that fireball right after and burst them. You are dead if Shyvana jumps on you. There's nothing you can really do. And her passive, she deals bonus damage to dragons, so she is so fast at taking dragons early in the game. Make sure if you're playing against Shyvana or with Shyvana, just yeah, go around that dragon pit, because you want to be either taking it or not letting that Shyvana take those dragons. And they didn't tell us in the trailer exactly what buffs she'll get from these dragons. I know one of them was like cool damage. I mean, not cool damage, true damage. So she might actually be kind of OP if they give her some crazy buffs from the dragons, and that's Shyvana. Okay, so now we're on to our last hero, and that's Xin Zhao. I would say this guy is probably the most solid overall jungler in the game. He is good at almost everything, and he's also a really solid pick for people that don't usually play jungler and are like new to kind of like a fighter style jungler. He's just, yeah, a great level 2, the best level 2 in the game. He's solid at ganking. He has really good slows and setup, just really good CC overall. His 1v1 is kind of crazy. I wouldn't say it's better than Olaf, but besides Olaf, he can 1v1 anyone in the game early in the game, and he can stick to targets really well. Like, you can't really get away from this guy. He can slow you from range, he can jump to you, and yeah, let's go see those abilities. And his first ability, the next 3 autos will deal increased damage, and on the 3rd auto is a knock up. So already just some really good CC. If you auto someone 3 times, they're just gonna get knocked up. His second ability, he slashes with that spear and then thrusts forward with it, slowing enemies. So he does like a quick slash, and then he actually, it's pretty long how like far his spear goes to slow people. So he actually has some like surprising range to him. And his 3rd ability, he jumps to enemies, dealing damage and slowing anyone in that area. So if you guys like, he'll slow you from range and then just jump to you and slow you again. Just great CC and really good early game gank. So if you see a Xin Zhao on the other team, make sure to be careful early game. He can just come to your lane and wreak some havoc. And that ultimate, he deals damage to nearby enemies based on their health and knocks all non-challenge enemies back. He does not take damage from anyone outside the circle of his ultimate, so that's kind of crazy. Like, if there's a ADC poke, like trying to damage you outside the circle, it won't do anything. So anyone in that circle is like kind of a death sentence. If I don't know, man, you're just gonna die. He's really good at fighting. And his passive is every 3rd attack heals him and does bonus damage. So his kit just works really well together. You want to auto after that first ability, get that knock up, and then on the knock up, you're going to be doing more damage and healing yourself. I don't know. Xin Zhao is just so solid to me, and I think he'll just be played in pro play a lot in Wild Rift, and just played and picked a lot in Wild Rift. He's just because of how solid and reliable he is at ganking, taking objectives, fighting. He's just good at it all. And yeah, that's really it for our jungle video. If you guys have any questions, if I got anything wrong, make sure you comment that. I probably messed up a little bit in this video, I'm not sure. And actually, if you guys have any information I'm missing about like the Rift Herald and stuff, make sure you guys comment. And let me know what you guys want to see next, either support, top lane, or ADC. I also could go over runes. I'm probably going to go over runes soon, actually. But yeah, make sure you guys tell me what you guys want to see in the next video, and I'll see you guys later.